Welcome back to Bourbon Over Baseball with your hosts Bob, Coast, Matt, and Jeff. Today, say hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
All right. We are back again doing another suggested podcast from the YouTube. And we're going to get probably right into it. And let's see who we got today.
1968, new team, we couldn't wait. Ran down, got our dad.
Don't know if you guys know that one yet. Maybe a little bit more?
Been big fans ever since.
Definitely gonna see it now.
San Diego Padres.
It's kind of sweet, though.
No, that's like the Friends theme.
Yeah.
That's it.
Like
It reminds me of the Backstreet Boys.
It was kind of fun, like, and I heard it, and I was like, oh, but it's, like, so long. Like, I'm like, it was, like, it was, like, almost, I don't know, like, 14 seconds of audio. I'm like, oh, I'll get cut. Like, they'll yell at me if I have, like, over a 10-second audio clip, you know.
Right, but you paused it, so
Yeah, I
we're
paused
okay.
it. I threw in some words, because I said the same thing to to George about the Yankees podcast. I was like, did you like the Imperial March behind us talking? Because I was like, I didn't get flagged for anything, so that was good.
Right, I'm surprised. That was probably the most flaggable thing we've put in any of these podcasts.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
You know?
but because we were talking over it, it couldn't pick up, I think, on
Right.
parts of it. So anyway, we are doing the San Diego Padres.
Yeah, I'll hit the high harmony.
Yeah.
You go low, all right?
Yeah, I'm more of a hip hop guy and not really good with this tones, and my wife will make fun of me for that. First
Yeah, let's
up,
just get Stacy and Jeff to sing that song.
Yeah, that's true.
Stacey-
Oh, man,
my
we'd be
wife
good.
and Jeff can really tear it up on the vocals. So first up, we have Andy Ashby, very solid starter.
Super
gets,
great.
Yeah, gets picked up a lot. This is like I said, like I like a Brad Radke. This is basically Brad Radke. Like I think it's 10 extra points or so. But a 4-1 through 16 out, pretty good ground ball range. IP7. It just depends if you like the IP7.
Yeah, he could have been. It's funny without. I mean, the foils on this team I understand, and then like I guess maybe they couldn't give the Padres 3 foils because I think they only have 2. But man, he could have been that. He's right at that point. You know, this card is just great. Like
Yeah.
there's really not much. Like I think being a control 4 IP7 is just bonkers great, and then also knowing out through 16. You know, I don't love the double, but at least it's nothing here. Yeah, I'm into it. Super into it.
Yeah, actually, and it's funny because I for my set, the 96 set that I've been doing, I made it so that like a certain point value and up is going to be like foils,
Right.
and because that should be a good dictator of how good a player is in Showdown, and then also I think every team should have a foil, stuff like that. So I was
Right.
working.
We're
with
kind of taking out the marketing angle of this.
Yeah.
You know? So, because then, like, we'll get to him, but our boy Tony Gwynn, probably not a foil, but I mean, but he's also a foil because he's a legend. So it's tough. You know?
And it's tough for him too, like because like points aren't given out for guys that just get on base. You got to do some damage too to
Right.
get higher points.
Does anybody know this patch that's on his arm? Maybe we'll see it later. I was wondering if it was the World Series patch.
It kind of looks like a World Series patch,
Yeah.
but I don't know.
Because there's a World Series 1998 patch, and I was thinking that's what it was, but it doesn't look exactly as the same one I googled online. But yeah, either way, interesting. Anyway, Andy Ashby's a stud, and I think he should have been a foil. I think if you're 500 points on a card, you should have the foil treatment, as my opinion. All right, so next up we have Ben Davis. Good catcher. He actually gets picked up a lot in my leagues because he's actually a pretty valuable punt catcher. So you can punt him and get the big arm and just know that you're just going to kind of take a hit in the back end of your lineup. But, he's not a bad chart, but the 6 is not anything. But usually once, like, your typical punt catchers go, this guy's, like, next on the list.
Right. He's. I mean, that's all it is. It's that +9 arm, which is. I mean, it's just 150. I guess is fine for that. I mean, there's really, if you think about it, in that set, there's not.
Yeah.
+9 is pretty great, actually.
Yeah.
Like,
He's got to be top 5 for sure.
Wow.
Yeah, and they didn't go cheap. Like, it's
Let me-
not Henry Blanco. I mean, you're getting, like, I always grab Alberto Castillo. He's, like, 110 points, I think, for a +10 arm. But, like, other than that, Ben Davis gets picked up a lot.
I'm checking now to see if I can figure it out. Like, I mean, I'm seeing a lot of plus. Of course, I don't have a great way to sort this based on their arm, but I mean, Kendall's a +9 arm. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's Ben Davis. Tom Lampkin is +9.
Pudge is an 11.
Yep,
Yeah.
Pudge is 11. Castillo is +10,
Yep.
and then that's it. And then it goes to those three guys at 9. It looks like. Then you,
Yep.
of course, you have a bunch of 8s, bunch of 7s. But that's no. I'm with you. I mean, for Castillo is. I mean, God.
Yeah.
Have we gone through the Cardinals yet?
No.
I don't think we have.
No.
Dude, he's I'm not going to stick on this, but he's an on base 7
Yep.
+10 arm, and then most of his chart is just singles.
Yep.
But like
Yep.
that's fine. Like
That's
and
exactly
he's
my.
less-
If
and
I'm punting catcher, that's because I'm going for that kind of guy.
right. He's less points. He's 130 points.
Yeah, but he's
That's-
a
that's
C
the-
speed, I think.
Dude, that's fine. Put him at 9 if he gets
Yeah.
on base. Awesome.
So you can see
know?
why Ben Davis goes because he's got a great arm and he's cheap value. Again, there's not
Right.
many cheap solutions if you're gonna go for an arm if you're punting catcher, unless you're completely punting arm too, I guess.
No, you're absolutely right. Those because Lampkin is 340.
Yeah.
Kendall's 460, and then Davis is to 150. And then if the lower you go there, there's really, I mean, even getting into the only the double digits. I mean, there's only 2 double digits catchers in the entire 2000 set. It looks like that's that's
10 and 11.
it's Crowder or whatever, Crowder I think, and Girardi. Girardi's a +5 arm, and Crowder is a +7 arm. Like
Yep.
that's actually not bad either.
Yeah,
like
Kruger, I think gets picked up. He's the guy from Kansas City, right?
yeah, he's on the Royals.
Yeah.
And he's probably their backup because it looks like Tim Spear is their
But he's the DH type guy because he's got the big chart. I
crazy
thought.
chart. Yeah, terrible arm. But
Yeah.
anyway, that's interesting.
So next up, we'll go to Mr. Padre himself, the foil Tony Gwynn. Always loved Tony Gwynn in real life. Wish he was, still around. But a valuable 9, B speed +1 for under 300 points. I don't like that he's a 1 through 5 out.
No.
It doesn't really make sense. It's the Tony Gwynn card. I mean, I know my Tony Gwynn card that I'm making. I think he's like, I forget if he's a 1 through 2 out or 1 through 3 out, but I always make sure I have no strikeouts because the guy never struck out.
Right.
I love that he also has like almost no walks. But it's a fun card. I've played this card before. He was not great, not bad, but not great. I just think he's decent value.
Yeah, the outfield is probably the slight killer for our leagues,
Mhm.
but he still could like operate on like a DH like capability, or honestly.
I just wish he was
like,
a 10 because of like you just don't play this card enough. And the problem with Tony Gwynn is he was just like a great singles machine. Like he's always getting a hit.
Yeah.
So it's great that he was a 9, but like the on base favors like guys that like to walk a lot. And so like Mark Moyer gets the 10, all these other guys get the 10. It's like, man, I'd rather have Tony Gwynn in like almost every scenario.
That
in
was
real
like
life. In real life.
too. That was like his last big full season because he was 39 in 1999.
Wow. Yeah, I forget what did he do in 96?
96, he had a 400 on base percent.
Oh, so he
Wow.
did, yeah, because he got the 10. That's what I was like
I was
trying to
gonna say-
remember.
Because I think I made like his 1987 season
Okay.
or something because I just wanted to use like the orange Padres color or the brown Padres uniform with a cutout.
Well, now
He
you
had,
can just
like,
wait
a
till 2020
447. Yeah.
if they play. We don't know yet.
It's crazy. His in '99, so the season that this is supposedly based off of, he had the highest batting average. He was 338,
Oh,
which
yeah.
is just
Look at his 1994 season.
dude.
Yeah, he was huge in 94.
And then like it's so funny because his batting average is crazy high. His on base is crazy high. But then like his slugging is not that high just because everybody he just wasn't hitting for power,
7 through 16 single. That tells you what he was doing right there.
Yeah, no shit. I mean he had
How many home runs did he have in 99?
he had 10 home runs, 27 doubles, no triples.
Oh, it just seems like maybe a little bit of a I guess it's not much of a stretch, but a little bit of a stretch to get him those home runs at the 20 chart. I mean, I know on my 96 version, he has no home runs, but he's a 10.
He honestly his card would probably work better. I mean, maybe they're just giving it to him because foil home run, I guess. But like, and I don't even know if like the single. I got to look at stolen base, but like
he has a single plus in my 96 as well.
I think if anything, his chart should have been like 7 through 18 single, no single plus, and then maybe 19, 20 double, like
That's
that, like
that's funny.
or
'Cause
20 double, like
that's
honestly,
really
or
close to what I have for 96.
really,
Yeah.
that's let me see his stolen bases. Um, yeah, in '99 he had 7 stolen bases. I don't know where they're getting the single plus here,
Well,
but
that's in that weird thing. Like, how many RBIs did he have?
um, 62.
Okay,
which
so that
is-
was that kind of blows that because there was that. Remember we talked about could it have been RBIs that they did some of that for?
right. Where would he have batted? I wonder where he batted in that.
Well, he
lineup.
didn't. He only had like 400 something plate appearances. So if they normalized it to a percentage, his stolen
Mhm.
bases could have been higher.
Yep.
Yeah, I know. In let's see, in 96. So he had only had 3 home runs. So that means that's why he has no home runs on my thing either. But he had 11 stolen bases. Because I know he has the plus on mine. But yeah, his 94 season was like the chance for us to see a 400 hitter. Actually, 97 when he batted 372 also. I mean those years from like 94, actually even 93 to 97, the lowest he batted was 350.
Jesus.
Wow.
It's just ridiculous.
Just predict that's it. Almost seems like made up shit, honestly.
Yeah.
When you look at these stats, like it doesn't look like a real, like it could have been a real thing. And that's the thing is that like it's kind of like he was a star, like he was, but it's like kind of like, and we were talking off the podcast about like there's a great John Olerud video, and like kind of a similar player to Gwynn in a lot of
Mhm.
ways. I mean, just a hitting machine, and like how back in the '90s, like that hitting machines were not they were not put up on the pedestal, they were not worshipped, right? They were kind of ignored, and like, but now if you had a Tony Gwynn or a John Olerud on any team, like they would be like mega fucking stars, like which is how it should be. So
Yeah, I mean,
but-
I'm just looking at his stats. It reminds me a lot of, minus the speed of like Ichiro.
Yep.
Like in 97, he's at 220 hits. He had 49 doubles. He had 17 homers, which is the career high. 119 ribbies, batted 372. Like, holy shit.
holy shit,
Yeah,
it's
what
right.
could you do to stop that guy?
Yeah. And there's always that video. Is that video of him like hitting that double off Randy Johnson that goes around? It's really sick. Johnson throws in that like because he's a lefty on lefty, and he throws that sick slider that tails away, and Gwynn like just sort of throws the bat at it and hits like a double down the line.
Okay,
like-
yeah, I know exactly what you're
I'm
talking
like,
about.
oh,
now.
you sick son of a bitch.
Dude, that is awesome.
That
And,
like
like-
reminds me of like 2015 or 2016 Michael Brantley when he had 200 hits. Like they couldn't throw anything to him. He just put it through the infield every time.
I think
Because
the
like, those guys aren't swinging for the fences; they were just kind of poking it. Get
I
your
know a
hit.
lot of numbers get tossed around, but I think a guy that can hit 200 hits is awesome. Like 200 hits is a huge number. And that's to me that was Ichiro all the time. And looking back at Gwynn's numbers here, he had like 5 seasons with 200 hits, and one with 197, and who knows what he would have gotten in 94. I mean,
Yeah.
that's fucking awesome. I mean, he had 3,000 hits. I mean, you're talking about a guy who got the 3,000 hit club.
Yeah, heck yeah. Yeah.
So I love Tony
love it.
Gwynn. Glad he got the foil. He does not get the foil in my 96 set though, because I went by points.
I'm trying to remember. We'll cover 01, but I think he did.
He got a 10. He was a 10 though, wasn't he? In 01?
He was like a pennant run in 01. He wasn't in the original set.
You're right. Why wasn't he in the original set?
I don't know.
I'll have to check.
Well,
out
he
that.
barely played in 2000.
Oh, so that's they must have just decided like that's how we're gonna do this. You know that like we're like they always like kind of needed
Oh,
like
he's a
high caliber
9.
pictures.
He's a 9 in he's a 9 in 01, but yeah, it's like 260 for a 9 that also hits a home run, has less outs, more doubles. It's actually a far better card in my opinion. He doesn't get the outfield, the left field, right field +1, but he's like the same card for like a better card for 30 less points. It's a very solid. We'll get that when we cover 01, but very solid value card. So anyway, next up we got Sterling Hitchcock. Again, this is a typical, standard 5, 1 through 15 out guy for the 6 inning guy. A 7 inning guy is going to get you closer to 500 points. But card kind of is okay here. What you don't like here is the huge, the small ground ball range because a lot of that helps. But
Right.
he's average,
So
not
that's
bad.
got to be why he's less points than all the other 5 out
Yeah.
through 15s then, because his range is so small.
I mean, it's
Yeah,
only
it's-
3 ground balls. I mean, that's
Yeah.
pretty rough.
I mean, he's like if you're not like caring about that, he's actually pretty good value for 430.
Exactly.
You know, I'm not into cards like this. Like I'm just never kept an eye on him, but I don't hate it. Like I really don't. Not for 430. Like he's like in my world, he's a perfect 4-starter.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I mean, geez, I wish I could spend 430 on a 4-starter. I always
Right.
I always waste my points on batters before I get there.
whereas I just lock up the pitchers and then I worry about the rest. So like one thing I was going to bring up because Matt and I talked about it last week is that like it's not that like we talk about tiers a lot in just because I'm not you know, you guys make the cards and I, you know, mostly just benefit from looking at them. You know, the tiers have always been, you know, something that just kind of like I never fully, you know, I understand how it gets put together, but like putting a base line around for it. So all I wanted to do was kind of like for people that don't know what the tiers was maybe like see if we could just like do like a quick little, you know, Cliff Notes version of like how we determine what a tier is and like what that really means.
Yeah, you want to break it down, Matt?
Yeah, so for just kind of like tiers, an easy way to remember it is you take the control and add it to their outs. So Sterling Hitchcock is a total of a 20, and that's like your tier 3 average pitcher, which I would say is kind of like your lowest level of an ace for most teams.
Yeah, we say average meaning like ace average.
Yeah, like you're not an average pitcher, you're an average ace. Like you're a lower end ace. You're not Pedro, but you're still an ace. Like you can lead your team.
And I said
Right.
to them offline, I think an easy way to remember it is that the whole game is based on a 20 chart, you know, a D20 dice. So I was thinking of the 20 as your typical ace, your typical Greg Maddux, David Cohn are 5, 1 through 15 out. That is a tier 3. That is the 20. You know, that's pretty simple.
Yeah.
Well, it's oh, go ahead, Matt.
Oh, well, I was just gonna say, you know, you get to the 21s, like that's you're starting to hit that next level. You know, Randy Johnson, and then you get to Pedro, who's a tier 1 as a 22, like top of the line.
Yeah, who arguably could have been probably even better than his card. We've talked on Discord about how that season was probably one of the best seasons of any pitcher ever, and his card sort of isn't as good as like some of the cards we've made, like Bob Gibson, Nolan Ryan, and it almost should be. I mean, he was beyond dominant in a steroid era.
Yeah.
What is that? What's that statistic they use?
I think they use ERA plus or something.
Is it ERA plus or yeah? It's something to do with like it's like weighted for the season and like against competition level. So it's not just their ERA, but like it's, you know, and taking into account all other pitchers' ERAs plus like the batting and the time. And he was so dominant. Like it was like I was thinking Bob Gibson, and the one guy on Discord was showing me that, and you know Pedro was even more dominant than that. And it's like shit, because Bob Gibson card we made was like 800 points, and it's like maybe Pedro should have been better.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and the interesting thing here, like looking at the tiers, like Hitchcock and Ashby are both the same tier, right?
Yep.
These,
Right.
and that's where you kind of see, like, it's kind of a nice one thing I've kind of learned from these guys. For me, like, you know, not having been focused about tier in the past is like, it's kind of a nice kind of base ground to be like, okay, I know the tier is like Hitchcock is you know, there's a lot of differences here, right? He's cheaper, but innings pitch is not considered, so that's kind of like almost like start there, kind of throw them into chunks, and then you can kind of like really see.
Yeah, and
where they
everyone
stack
else has
out.
their personal preferences. Like I prefer a tier 3 guy who's a 4, 1 through 16 out. Like that's the kind of guy I like.
Exactly.
And sometimes I can find value there. A 5, 1 through 15 out is fine with me, but I like that extra out, and I'm okay with sacrificing 1 control. Just because 4, I still feel like gets me the advantage enough, and I really like that extra out on the roll of my chart.
Right.
That's just me. That's my preference. You know, if you can get like an Eric Milton for some reason, we've talked about this before. How I don't know how he's a tier 2, but you're talking about now a control 6, 1 through 15 out. You know, that's the one up from that.
Right.
They're just everyone has their preferences. But
Yeah,
this is actually pretty good value. Next up, we talked about now. So this will be what, a tier 2, tier 1.
This
Yeah,
is
tier 1.
So this is tier 1. I think that we talked about was the only tier 0 is Billy Wagner.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is tier 1. So 4 plus 18 is 22. An incredible pitcher. I don't really get to play this card because he always gets drafted before I'm ready to draft closers.
Right. He gets drafted way too early,
Yeah.
to be honest. So, like,
The
considering how good the closers and the even closer bonus, like, I don't care, like 200, like, considering how many good relievers and closers there are on the set, like, no reliever should go in the first like 2 or 3 rounds, even in a limited. Like, if you were like, we've talked about here, like doing like an NL only 2000.
That's gonna happen,
like,
Jeff. That's gonna happen.
It's gonna be great. Like, I'm actually, like, honestly looking forward to that.
And
Like,
that, he might be the best closer then in just NL because there's no Rivero. If you choose to
Right.
use Houston, I think we shouldn't. But
That's between you and Peter.
Peter's not even going to be in it. So.
sorry, Peter.
Unless he's going to fly to Cleveland.
Yeah. Well, actually, what's funny about the closer bonus here on Hoffman is I actually don't think he's got a bone. I mean, for 200 points, this card he actually seems like he should be more points.
Well, and Rivera's 210, right?
Yeah. I think he's
What is Wagner?
250 is
210?
Wagner.
230.
Oh my god.
230? I thought it was 250.
Yeah.
Is he 230?
I want to say 230.
Yeah,
my
they just
God.
really fucked up the points. Like, it just like fell off the range.
I mean, it's like it's so funny. The more we've talked about it, like, it's like we've closer bonus. Which, like, did you guys already talk about how that's like? Anyway, let me, like, the closer, like, as the more we've talked about it, like, the more I realize the points are just like completely off and don't make sense. I'm honestly just kind of used to it at this point.
Yeah.
Like, it's just fine, Like,
I don't remember the chart, but isn't that the same chart basically as Jeff Zimmerman? And he's 180 and he's a reliever.
Yep. Okay, so there you go. So he's like a 20-point
20
closer
points, right.
bonus.
And Rivera's 210. So it's
Okay,
like
yeah.
there's a closer bonus, but
Did
Yeah.
you guys talk about that? Like, there was the one guy in our Discord.
Yeah,
I think it was
Patson.
Patson that did like a statistical.
Yeah, so if you guys
graphical
aren't on the
analysis.
Discord and want to reach out to one of us on Twitter. Very passionate people in there.
Oh, yeah.
So it might be overwhelming to some people that aren't ready for the overwhelmingness of the statistics and knowledge that some of these people have. Obviously, probably more than me, which is funny that, like, us are basically trying to run this thing of people that are more knowledgeable than us. But the Patson did an amazing job where he actually charted out all the relievers and then closers, like, based on their salary, and like he does it off WOBA, weighted on base average, I believe it is, which is against, I think, the pitcher's average weighted on base. And he had found that the closers did receive a bonus. And so they're all based higher. Now, again, we think that's because of the strategy cards. I'm sure that's actually why. But when I talk about the closer bonus, some guys actually feel like they got it, and it feels like ridiculous. I feel like Trevor Hoffman is actually undervalued. Like, I would pay more than 200 points for a 4-1 through 18 out. Like,
Yeah.
He is a stud. And we just talked about this, Jeff, because you run the Shut on the Day Twitter account.
Mhm.
And Jacob deGrom just got posted, who's a 4-1 through 18 out. And I was like, at first. He killed our fucking league.
Yeah.
Like,
He
I
killed
am
us.
sold that 4-1 through 18 out is so good.
And he got picked. That was
Yeah.
So one of our Kevin, who we've mentioned, he's one of the guys. He's the buddy of mine from grade school days that I played Showdown as a kid, and introduced me to Bob. Kind of got me in this whole thing. He was drafting. He's not like a big pitcher guy. Like, he does like a good pitcher, but he's not like a DeGrom pitcher. And I remember in that draft, he was drafting like 7th or 8th, and DeGrom somehow fell to him there. And I remember him looking at me being like, I have to take him. Like, I have to take him. And then, he just went fucking insane for him. And so, I feel like we all just kind of like, and he, like,
Well,
honestly
everyone looked at him and goes, he costs a lot of salary. I don't know if it's worth it, but fuck. I mean, I'm telling you, he killed the league, and it changed my mind. Because I always think of, like, I think I just got too used to seeing Randy Johnson get blown up, but I'm like, he's an extra tier, and I wasn't thinking about that, I think. I don't know.
Mhm.
But anyway, he blew it up. Trevor Hoffman's a beast. I never get to play with him because our league, for whatever reason, we have too many people playing. Probably we have a big group. We have like 10 to 12 people playing in a league, and they love closers. And,
they
or
love relievers. Your cousin
Yeah, my
loves
cousin
closers
especially.
too. And, like and like one thing that's like worth noting, so Trevor Hoffman and Tony Gwynn were both All-Stars in '99. They're also both in the Hall of Fame. I did not know that Hoffman was in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, he's
But,
the saves leader, isn't he?
Is he really? Okay. I mean, I don't know as much about him as I probably should about his data and statistics and how much of a beast he was back then. But Andy Ashby was also an All-Star that year.
Ooh.
Was actually making more money than each of those guys. Probably should have gotten a foil. I'm kind of on that train now.
They
but,
shafted him.
Yeah,
Right.
my theory was that it was the guys that made like all-star teams and won awards, but if Ashby didn't get one, that ruins that.
I really now it's making me think that I'm gonna look. I'm not gonna do it right now, but I want to look at the. I think it'd be fun for me to look at the All-Star lineup for each conference
Yeah.
and see who did get foils. And I'm sure, honestly, 90% of them did. 95,
Oh, I'm sure.
right? But I want to find those dudes that just got, in that sense, kind of fucked over and didn't get one. And so it's probably going to be Ashby and a
Well,
handful
you
of
should
others.
definitely let Matt know that because he's doing hypothetically, Matt's doing the remastered 2000 set.
Oh, right.
maybe not.
Potentially.
Also, is Trevor Hoffman's jersey around his wrist ripped?
Maybe. And I'm glad you brought this up. I think this might be spring training.
Yeah, that's an
Right?
interesting jersey.
It's a great jersey. It's a great jersey. I
Yeah.
I rarely applaud the blue jerseys or blue and red anything, but no, it's the blue and the white just looks really
he
good.
also looks like a beast. Like he looks super intimidating pitching this ball.
Right.
Next up, we have Damian Jackson. I've actually played with this guy. I think he's decently valuable. He has a pretty good chart for a speed A. I don't like that he's a 7. Obviously, I don't like that he's not a big shortstop, but +3 didn't kill me. I've played this guy before.
4
He's got-
single pluses.
Yeah.
I'm looking up his stats right now to try.
Well,
to
and
see
I also like, again, I don't like that he has no singles, like 0 singles. But, like, he was like this quick guy at the end of the lineup. Like, all I want to do is get him on second base.
Yeah, and you could. I mean, basically, if you get on base with him, you got a good shot at it.
Yeah, it just sucks he was a 7. Like, if he's an 8, he'd be so damn good. But, like, the 7 for 210, it was, like, right about... I don't think I've drafted this guy much, but I have played with this guy.
Yeah, I think he fits a good value because he's still like average shortstop defense at a 3.
Yeah, it doesn't kill you. The 1 through 3 strikeouts hurts a little bit, but at least he has no
Yeah.
ground ball range, even though he was an A speed. And he's got some power. If he ever does get the advantage, you got a pretty good shot of getting to
Yeah,
second
13
base.
and up, you should be on second.
Yep.
You know, I'm going to bring this up now. Is our when we did the, I just because I think it's an interesting use case of this, and like when we did the mini season with the 2001, I want to see from this team who got drafted. I mean, I know Hoffman and I'm pretty sure Gwen did.
I
But
don't think Gwen did. I know Hoffman did.
Hoffman 100% did.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of anybody. Megadon might have.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get to my boy there.
But I don't think I drafted Damien in that league. At least I don't think I did. I
Here,
drafted
I'm
the
gonna-
different Tony Gwynn. I drafted the 01 version in our league.
Man, the only player from this team that got drafted was
The Hoff.
was Hoffman.
No,
And
is
it
that
looks
just
like
00? What about 01? Is Tony Gwynn on my team?
a lot of 01 got drafted.
Well,
yeah, Gwen.
They did
you
better
drafted
with value cards, I think, in 01.
right. You drafted Gwen pretty late.
Yeah.
But
like
man, it's funny. We talked about him going early, Hoffman going early. I drafted Trevor Hoffman.
You son of a bitch.
I drafted him at 60th, and like I'm like part of me is like, when would I have drafted him?
Well,
like,
did my cousin already have like all the other relievers before, and you were probably like, "Fuck, I need
That's
to
what
get somebody."
let me do a. I'm gonna do a quick. I know we're going down a tangent on this, but
Well,
let
you
me.
look it up. I'll go to the next card.
There we go.
Next up, Wally Joyner. Yeah, it's
Yep.
not much to talk about here. I don't like that he's C speed. He's an 8, which is fine. Lot of walk to single ratio here, which is pretty bad, especially for a C speed guy. I mean, I guess he's only 140 points, but like,
Yeah.
it's just rough. And
I
this
should've
one's
had
got
him-
the cool old Padres patch on his arm.
Yeah, look at that. Oh,
To
I
go
love
back to Brett Main, definitely a cop.
Oh, this guy. That is-
100%.
That is fantastic. I could totally believe it.
Oh my god, I love it. That's amazing.
I hope you keep bringing that up on a future podcast. I totally forgot about that, and now this is total cop. This guy's a cop.
Any guy in those sunglasses is definitely with like a buzzed head. He's a cop.
Just like he is like very like he's got the very buzzed head. You know what I mean? Like, all right, I figured out. This is like okay.
Okay.
I'm looking at I'm looking at closers, relievers drafted in order. First two are not surprising. It went Billy Wagner, and he went 11th, and that's first round. I think.
That's to my
I
cousin.
think that. No, that's to Kevin.
Oh,
and
Kevin drafted him in front of my cousin and pissed him off.
Yeah, he did. And then your cousin drafted Mariano, and then he went back to back. He had the back to back. So we have? No, we must have had 8 teams because then he had the first or the last pick of the second round, the 1st pick of the third. But then he went Rivera and Keith Folk.
Yeah, he loves Keith Folk.
And then that's where going down the line, and it's Alan Embry, 01 Mariano. John Johnstone, Dan Plesac, which is not even. He's
that
not
guy,
even.
We'll get to the Diamondbacks eventually, but Dan Plesac's a beast.
So those guys, we're talking 7 players, and then with way down, like probably halfway through the draft, that's when I got Trevor Hoffman.
Oh, so you actually just did a nice pick on him,
right? It just kind of worked out. Like I think that's probably what I was thinking at that point. I was just like I have to pick him.
Well, and how did he do for you that season?
And it's funny, I picked John Johnstone before I picked Trevor Hoffman.
Well, John Johnston's great value, but I think Hoffman's super. I think that 4 scares you when there's like a ton of 6s. There's so many 6s in OO, and it's like, why would I grab a 4? But you don't think about the tiers all the time.
Yep.
Now Johnstone is a tier 2 or tier 1 as well, so it's not like too far off. But you're talking about a 4-1 through 18 out is pretty damn good.
So my team was really bad because I had good pitching and good relief, but I just could not get on base.
This was your walk team.
This was my walk team. It's like
It's
my infamous walk team. But I do remember, and a lot of my even great relievers just lit up. But this was the year that I had Jeff. My relief staff was just unbelievable, honestly. Jeff Zimmerman, John Johnstone, Doug Brocail, Russ Springer, Trevor Hoffman, and Trevor Hoffman got lit up, like just totally. He had an ERA.
Wait a second, back up. So you grabbed Johnstone, Hoffman, all before Brocail?
Yes,
what a shame! What a travesty!
And actually, looking back, Johnstone was lights out, and Brocail, my dude, was lights out. I should have known better. I remember, like everybody has that player that you put in, and he should do well, and he didn't, and that's what Hoffman did for me. I remember he played in 5 games, and it was really just one game. I must have just given up. He only pitched, 2/3 of an inning and gave up 6 earned runs. And 2 home runs. So those weren't on his chart.
Yeah.
So it's just like he just got lit up. But anyway,
that was Jeremy Jeffries for me last year when our 2018 set. I mean, a typical 6 1 through 15 out should hypothetically do well, and I never could do anything with him. He was awful.
Right.
All right. Next up, we have Phil Nevin, who actually a very solid player. Huge home run double chart for an 8. He's got a huge salary. He's interesting here because the crappy catcher, but he could slide in there. He also has the big +3 third base, which is great, and but he's a C-speed, but he's powerful.
Yeah, I've never paid attention to this card, but I love it. Like
I really like it. Good one if we do that NL league.
I was just gonna bring that up, Matt. He looks like a stud in that league.
Yeah, because you can slide him around, and that way you can like substitute. Like if you need a different speed. Like if you want to pinch run for a catcher or something, he can go to catcher and fix that. And I was a big fan of his 01 card in my leagues back in the day.
Oh, do you remember what that is? I actually think that he's actually been played in our league before, the 01 version.
Sure, yeah.
But this card, I remember you sending me. So people don't know this, but Matt sent me just some like recaps of like what an an NL draft of just 2,000 cards would be. And I was like, what's the best shortstop? Like, is it Barry Larkin? Like, who's the best? Because A-Rod, Jeter, like Nomar, Omar are all in the AL. Like, who's the best? I was like, basically Barry Larkin. We were going on our Reds thing, and I was like, okay, so who's the best third baseman? And Phil Nevin was like way up the list. For value, you're talking about like Fernando Tatis, Chipper Jones are way up there, and then Phil Nevin's like right there, and it's like,
yeah,
for a +3 third baseman. you got an 8 with a ton of power for 350. You're feeling like pretty good.
Yeah, he might be after Jones, Tatis, and Roland. He might be the 4th best.
That's
Well, yeah.
crazy.
Roland's a guy I like just because he's a 9. But you're talking about, I think Roland's like 460.
Yeah,
But this is better just because the utility aspect, just like
right.
Well, and it all depends on the league you're playing. If we do bench players, which I always would love to do, we have to because we're playing NL rules, and you have to do pinch hitters. Your team with switching people around becomes highly valuable to have people with multiple positions.
Mhm.
So this guy becomes awesome. But other than that, a normal draft, maybe he's in that weird range where he's not as great as a Chipper Jones, but he's not a punt player. But I don't think you can really go too wrong here. I think the biggest drawback of this guy is his C speed. In my opinion.
he's a power guy, so he's
Yeah.
not going to be fast.
And it's one thing I'm looking at looking at the whole team's WAR. He is second on the team in WAR for the whole season for 99, and his salary
number one?
that number one is Reggie Sanders,
Oh, okay.
which is interesting. And so Sanders was paid $3.7 million that year. Nevin was paid $265,000. So they were getting. You want to talk about value? Like they
Yeah,
got some
real
fucking value. They got actual money value that season.
There was a guy I was talking to about card creation where he was trying to do it with salary base, like actual money and how much they were making, and like he was like reconstructing the whole idea of a card game. It was really cool. I was talking to him a lot about. He had lots of things about like hit a ball to left field hard or soft, center field. Like it was really, he had intense like statistics.
Yeah.
But part of it was like real live like salary based options, like with money, like how they were valued as a player. It was really cool that he went like that deep into it. So that's always cool to see other card creators. If any other card creators are out there, that's also a good place. The Discord we have, and on Twitter, people are always sharing content. Some people think theirs are more perfect than others, but obviously we just love hearing all the content. We love anybody getting their creative aspects out there. No one I think can be perfect, but we're trying to get as close as we can to it, and we hope that people can just share and be a part of this whole community.
For sure. And I don't create the custom cards. Like I use them, just we talk about them, like, which is great. And like the one thing that's always been the most important thing for me is like, I will never ever like, except for the Wizards of the Coast people apparently, but I'll never nitpick into like, why was this single plot?
And we nitpick them because it's just obviously I love what they did. I wish I could,
Me too.
I am imitating their art basically to do this. Like that's how much I love their idea, their style. It's just obviously when you go back 20 years, you go, we have better ideas now, and that's just. You could do that by anything. I love what they did.
Right. No, and my biggest thing is that like with any custom cards, and like this is like if anybody listening is making them think about listening, and this is just like my take, but like my thing has always been just like being able to like fit them into like the 2001 model and just kind of like have Phil Nevin play along, being pitched to by Justin Verlander is like, is like, that's like, to me, that's like, as long as the points are reflective of like what the player actually is like, and I just want to throw them in because that's like the fun simulation aspect of this game.
I've talked a lot about this with Clutch Baseball and their owners and their card creators. I think the best thing you can always aim for is to have fun. A showdown game should be able to be picked up by a dad or a mom and play with their son or daughter and just played. Like that's why I don't like strategy cards so much. I really think like I got like a 8-year-old kid or a 10-year-old kid, and they just want to play with their dad or mom, and they just want to roll the dice, and they want to see Mike Trout on TV hit a home run, but they want to be Mike Trout. They want to play with Mike Trout, and they just want to make it really. It's so fun, and I hear these guys on Facebook's playing cards with their kids, and it sounds awesome. I can't wait till my kids are older. Maybe they could do it with me, but you got to make the game easy, simple, straightforward. Very artsy in my opinion, because kids love that, like the cool art, but also statistically driven, but fun. It has to be fun and easy. And the more complicated you make it, the more you sort of draw, I think, the kids. And that's why I think MLB in general sort of falls away from it. But you got to be able to have it as a family, fun game at the same time that you're like, I'm playing baseball with my son right now, and we're just sitting around watching the Indians play, and we're just having a great time being Mike Trout or Sammy Sosa. We don't give a fuck.
Right, exactly. I think we like honestly like it's been during the entire COVID stuff. Like we all know there's been way more people paying attention to Showdown, people dusting off those boxes in their basement, and it's been awesome. And I think like the one thing that's been kind of on that note that's been really just refreshing and great to see is like is like the dads with their kids just being like, hey, we just played out we played out Braves versus Yankees 2000, and like it's just like that's the core of this whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like it's all of it. Like, and kind of on this note, like I was gonna bring it up at some point, but like so on Friday night, so we're recording this on a Sunday, like a couple nights ago, we were driving. My wife and I were going out to a pretty far away spot from us to go pick up some stuff to do a shelf or whatever, and we were driving through this area that I used to play Showdown and buy cards at. It's a shop called Diversions out in Newbury, Ohio. And I knew they were still open, but I hadn't really hit them up just because like that's where I went as a kid. I had all these incredible memories there, and I had been wanting to stop in, so I finally did. And like same owner, or like at least the son of the owner,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just kind of like I was in there. It was like a bunch of like I'm talking true Magic people playing, and like I'm kind of like slightly spilling my heart out of it, but like this guy was kind of an odd fellow, but I think he could tell that like I gave a shit about that shop, and like that's kind of like what it meant to me. And like I don't know if I've ever told you guys the story, but like I used like, and I'm going off on a tangent, sorry for the timing, but like when I was younger, I had like all sorts of like sickness problems. I just like just like they would go through like weeks at a time where I would just be out of school, just like almost like pneumonia type of stuff. And I remember one specific time, like, I was just like towards the tail end of it, like just well enough to go outside, and my mom drove me to that card game shop, and I bought some Showdown packs, and of course we all know like there's that 1/3 ratio that not every pack has a foil in it.
Mm-hmm.
So I bought like a handful, didn't get anything, and then like the card shop owner guy just like tossed me a pack, and I think it was open. But I opened it, or like ripped it open without knowing it was probably opened, and there was an 01 McGuire in there.
Oh my god!
And it was like, in that card at that point was like I think I knew as a kid it was like a $25 to $30 card back then, which it still is now, funny enough. But that's these moments, you know what I mean?
Like, think about money. I mean, obviously we didn't have much when I was a kid growing up. We were pretty damn poor, but I just think the idea of opening up McGuire would be like astounding for me, because I loved McGuire growing up, because I loved the steroids and the fucking home runs and everything, and always seeing. I mean, like if I would I never had them. I had to buy them later when I was like 20 something, when I could afford them. Right. But like as a kid, if I could imagine just opening up going, oh my god!
I remember, like, I think it was just like I knew that he had like clearly done something special for me.
Yeah.
And, like again, it's like all what this game means to you, and like I've had like there are some cards that I have that are just like truly untouchable just because there's these like very strong like emotional attachments to, like that's one of them, and like that shop is one of them, and like again kind of coming full circle, like all these experiences that we're having, like new and old, like kind of all mashed together is like part of what this game is to us.
Hell so. Yeah. I like that. I like the off-topicness of that. I like the positive, the reinforcement of the game.
Well, and it's funny that you said something like that, like, and this is a little off topic too, but like how I put the NBA cards that I made and just like made up a new game for it. Mm-hmm. Somebody messaged me on Twitter just kind of asking a couple of like rule differentials the other day, and just kind of asking me to make sure. And he goes, "Cool, I'm going to play it with my 5-year-old son this week."
Oh, that's freaking awesome. I'm like,
I made something that a dad and his kid are gonna do. Like, how cool is that?
That's everything.
That's really cool, dude.
Yeah, and it's like I hope they had an hour's worth of fun out of something that I just made because I was bored during the quarantine.
I imagine they did too. I think it's a really fun way to interact, especially with the video game era. When you're playing video games, it just feels like I see kids playing video games like they're by themselves. I mean, I used to play with my dad sometimes racing games, but really video games I used to play by myself, headset on. You're playing Call of Duty, but there's something about Showdown where you're playing against somebody, rolling the dice back and forth, with your dad or with your kid or with your mom or with your daughter or whatever it is. Like, it just seems very connected and very awesome. And like you just said, that story that like you're playing, or you created a card game that connected a father and son better than a video game could have.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's awesome. All right, well, I hope everyone's listening to that and thinking, we'll get back to it. We're going to the next card, guys.
We
We're
should
going to the
cut
next
off
card.
there. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, we got Eric Owens here. Actually, another interesting card. So we
One of
just
the
talked
best
about the
center
value of
fielders.
Damian Jackson, but here's a guy who's another 7, A speed, tons of outfield help here for 210 as well. And look at this chart.
Everything.
You got 3 single pluses, 2 doubles, a triple, a home run, lots of singles, unlike Damian, who had a lot of walks. A pretty solid card here for 210.
I'm just surprised he didn't get picked up. Like, again, maybe
he falls in that range because a lot
Yeah.
of people go, I want Griffey, I want stud outfielders, and if they don't, they punt so bad they're looking for 100-point outfielders, and he breaks it. Like, I like Darren Lewis. You know, I go a little
funny.
lower.
it's like looking, and again, this is, I think when you go deeper, he, like this type of player, if you did like an NL draft, he is 1000% getting picked.
Yeah,
And
he's
I
very
don't
valuable.
remember, but I think he was like one of the top 5 center fielders of NL because there's so many OF guys
Oh, interesting.
and not a lot of. There's only like 8 center fielders technically that aren't like OF.
Mm-hmm.
Let me
So
see.
like
I'm gonna try
after
to-
like Andrew Jones.
Oh, yeah.
and
I love Andrew Jones. He's a stud.
I think Andrew Jones might be the best in the NL.
Mhm.
Like before you get to the OF guys, and I think Owens was a little bit after him.
yeah, I'm trying to split this up by NL.
Yeah, it took a little time to do that for me.
But
All right.
No,
While you
but
guys are
he's
doing
a-
that, we'll go to the next guy.
he's right in that range.
Ruben Rivera is another 210-point guy. So now we got an A-speed outfielder's a 6, OF +2. Weird chart here. A lot of home runs, a lot of walks.
Yeah.
What did he do that year, Matt? But while you're looking that up, again, I don't like this card just because he's a 6, but like, it's
Yeah,
210 points. The reason he's got so many points because of his home runs, and you're not gonna pick this guy for your team. I think you're not gonna pick this guy for your team because you're not gonna get the advantage enough to take advantage of those home runs. I say that the guy that won our last league had a guy like this on his team and fucking killed it. So if you get it, you're crushing it. But there's a lot of walks on this chart, which kind of makes me nervous.
I mean, so, and this is why he had a 295 on base percent and a 195 batting average. So he was walking a ton.
Dude, no, it's crazy.
How many
is
home
that,
runs did he have?
23.
Oh wow! So yeah, so
In
he's literally all or nothing.
475 Yeah, 475 plate appearances, 23 homers, 55 walks.
Mm-hmm.
And Ruben Rivera played 143 games at center field. Eric Owens only paid, or like, there must be games in lineup as center field, and I don't know how this number is above the actual total. I don't know how that works. Maybe if he subbed in, but basically, Ruben Rivera was center field for the Padres most of that season. Which
Yeah,
is,
see, the only time I ever did it, so I would give a guy percentages if he played center field the most, then he would get center field, and if he played enough left field, right field, he would also get left field, right field. If those numbers were the same, I'd give him the OF. If not, I always broke it up.
Yeah.
he played left field and right field literally 0 times.
Oh, this is just
So
like
this is
freaking
this is
Bernie
one of
Williams.
those, right? It's one of these. So
I just
mean,
don't understand it.
and our boy Tony Gwynn was in right field, and Reggie Sanders for the most part played. Eric Owens actually played left field. That was pretty well split. It was like left field was Sanders, Owens, and Vanderwall. So
Okay.
anyway, but it's I mean, he's not huge. That walk range makes sense, but it's just tough for 210. I think to
Yeah.
maybe, again, talking about utility though, like
Yeah.
maybe it's worth it.
Next up is the war leader for the team, Mr. Reggie Sanders. A very, very powerful card. Huge chart here. A lot of outs, but you're talking about a 9 on base, A speed that gives you plus outfield 470. A lot of points here, but you're getting a pretty good card.
He's for I mean
I wish he had
470.
one more double, but like there's
Oh.
2 single pluses here. You got a double, triple, a 3 home run range, which is pretty solid. I just wish like maybe if he had one less walk or one less out or one less single and one more double, he's pretty solid. But if you're looking at we like to look at extra base hits, and I like to count single pluses in my extra base hits, especially if they're A speed because of the way our rules are in our league.
Mhm.
14's pretty good, but like a couple more would have been like really, really fucking good, especially for a 9. But 470, it seems like a lot of points, but you're really getting a pretty fucking solid card here.
Yeah, he's great, and it's so funny now us talking about this NL, NL teams only 2000, and I think even take out pennant run. It's like you really start to recognize those players that like absolutely start to get picked up, and I think for 470, he's not. I don't love the 9, I don't love the 1 through 5 out, but like this is a badass card.
Yeah, we talked about this on the last podcast, Jeff, that you weren't able to go on, but because we have a nice solid group about 10 players that really like to play, and to get a good draft, you almost need twice that number, right? You need like 20 people to really thin out the draft to find fun players you never played with before. But instead of that, if you just cut the league in half by saying you're only doing NL, and keep that 10 group that we play with, like these kind of guys like become like fun little stories you tell yourself. Like, remember when Reggie Sanders was killing it for me because you never drafted this guy before,
And splitting the league in half would make the 7s better too, because there's not going to be as many high controls.
Yep.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. And that's what makes me the most pumped about it, because I've never played something like that where I'm only like Reggie Sanders all of a sudden like, oh shit, there's a 9A speed guy that's available. Like, fuck, I need to get that guy.
Right. There's not going to be many of them. And I think about the pitching, whereas like I'd love to get 4 just stellar, starting pitchers.
Yeah, you're gonna choke off the draft if you do that.
Right. The same. Or like I know my fourth starter's like actually not going to be that good, So
yeah,
just seeing how the draft goes.
Very interesting because of the way you and then sometimes our other friend Matt drafts. And actually, depending on how the whole league would draft, the choke on the starting pitchers could go crazy. Just because it starts to limit it. I'm gonna see Kurt Schilling and people like that are gonna go, but like, I don't know. It's very interesting what could happen.
Yeah, this is when we do this. Like, we're gonna have to do the full breakdown, like maybe pre-draft, post-draft.
Oh
like,
yeah, I'll try to video that as well, or record it to put on the podcast. Next up, John Vanderwall, the other guy that was playing left field. Actually, a pretty interesting card here, being a 9 that's valuable for 280. B speed. I don't like the extra ground ball range here, but you're talking about a couple doubles here. 3 doubles is pretty nice.
This feels like a Moneyball team.
Yeah,
because it's all like nine on base guys that don't hit for power.
Yeah,
and 3 solid starters.
And the other guys that are 7s are like speed demons.
Yeah,
like the 7s are all A speed guys.
Like, there really hasn't been that many players that we looked at and we're like, oh god.
Well,
like,
yeah, just Wally Joyner, the cop.
Right.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. No, and now I realize I never looked up like how they stacked up like in terms of team totals, but I'm just like, maybe
Jeff,
they're not high.
They're not going to be high. Did what?
Did you buy your Padres jersey yet, Jeff?
No, we were. It's funny. I don't know if you were on yet. Like, I think you'd walked away for a second, but like we were talking. Like, yeah, the brown, the yellow, like.
Yeah, you like the UPS style.
I freaking love it. And
what did Kevin buy? Did he buy this style?
I think he did.
Because this is the style I like, is the pinstripe Padres. Actually, my favorite one is the camo Padres. They've done that a handful of times.
That's true.
I just don't know. I like Fernando Tatis a lot, and that's the one
I saw Tatis in the gray and yellow pinstripe for their new uniform.
Oh.
Maybe I'll just get like, I don't need to get a player because I don't know if I like connect with any current player on the Padres. I just like love the freaking jersey.
Yeah, they did that market sample in the San Diego area. Loved that color scheme.
Oh, it's so like it's just so different. It's just like, I think any team that can do different. Again, I know we've said this 1,000 times, but like just doing it like. It just matters. Like like, sure, they are UPS colors. I get it. Like I see the similarities, but like it's just like, that's fine. Like it's not blue and red. It's fine. It's totally fine.
Next up, we have this one's gonna test my Quilvio Veras.
Sure.
Quilvio Veras. Another solid 9 A speed guy, middle of the range defense. Nothing too crazy in the chart, but he does have the single pluses and the doubles. But again, you're sort of Moneyball, like you just talked about. I played this guy way back in the day, but not recently.
Yeah, I mean, I like the way their team's set up. If you're going to get on base a lot. I don't know if you're going to drive everyone in, but you're going to get the runners on base at least.
Yeah, it'd be cool to play with this team sort of in a shell, like just the Padres. Because
you
the
have like
pitching
5 or
wasn't
6
bad.
9.
The relievers are good. The batters seem to be solid, but not much power. maybe a Phil Nevin is like one of your best power hitters.
Yeah, and the issue is like if you are playing as them, you only have 2 bullpen arms.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I guess yeah, you'd have to mix in what 0-1 with it as well,
Yep.
to do it. But either way, it's still pretty cool to see the lineup being so high on base.
Sorry,
Next
guys.
up,
I'm looking at Padres jerseys right now. So I really had no. I don't even know who you're looking at. Honestly.
So Matt, what is Wisenet?
Wasn't it? Yeah, wasn't it? Oh man.
Wisenet?
Yeah. Why are these guys testing us with their
Yeah,
damn
I
names?
know.
Like,
And
just have a normal.
I'm the worst pronouncer.
But
An interesting card here because of the value that you get. You get a 4 control for 80 points. I hate 14 out pitchers, but I like saving some salary, so it could be okay, especially with the salary being so high, or not high, but you can grab like your 190s, and there's not many under 100-point relievers, and a decent ground ball range.
This is one of the worst relievers we've seen, right?
In terms of salary, but I don't think he's that bad.
No. I mean he's a tier 5.
Yeah.
But you're getting the 4 control, so at least you're going to be on your chart most of the time.
Yeah.
But
and
you're
you're
going to
hoping
give up
a lot of ground
of
balls. Like the ground ball range is solid.
It's one of those like a 0 out through 18 or a 4 out through 14. You want the 4 because at least they'll be rolling on your chart.
Yep.
And then a 20 is only a double or 18 is only a single instead of what it could be.
This seems to me like a like maybe if the draft got a little dicey and you needed some salary but you weren't fully punting, and so you were like, well, what if my top 2 relievers are tired and I needed a guy that could maybe stretch an inning or so. This guy seems to be a nice Dan Plesac range.
Dude, he's perfect for that. Like, I mean, I think again in a deep draft, he 100% gets picked up.
Oh, he'll go in the NL only draft.
Just
no
because
question.
he's so valuable.
Right. There's like that just like the what you're getting for value, and I think like it's not like you want to draft players. Like, it's not like you're thinking like, man, I need to have that guy that like can fill innings. But like that's something like in the way we play, like that matters. Just because like when you're up like 3 or 4 runs, like you don't. Like maybe you don't feel like you need to put in the Trevor Hoffman. Like maybe that's not the situation to kind of like wear him out. But like that's where this guy can kind of maybe just eat up a couple innings.
And I think the salary saving is huge, especially there's only a handful of people under 100 points. You got to kind of grab them when you can. You don't want 0s and 3s.
Right.
Next up, Woody Williams. You don't really want this guy. This is what tier 4.
Yep, tier 4.
But has the home run, so you really don't want this.
No, that's a lot of damage.
Yep.
Yep.
Next up, we got our pennant run cards. We got Brett Boone coming over to the Padres.
Got a little boost.
Yes.
He's got his cop glasses up. No, I'm kidding. He looks. Hey, it's a great spring training picture. He looks pretty happy.
The beautiful day outside.
That's awesome.
Interesting here, he's got a ton of power and a ton of doubles. Like, you're talking about a 15 double range, a 14 quote-unquote extra base hit range. The 7's not bad again. I wish he was A-speed for 230. But he's not, so it hurts. I think it hurts a little bit. I think A-speed is super valuable.
Holy shit, I just realized something. You guys maybe already knew this, but I'm having like a mind-blown moment. The 2000... base set cards.
Oh, here it comes.
In the speed, they have a colon, or they don't have a colon, but the 2000 pennant run have a damn colon there. Have you guys ever noticed that?
I have not, and I usually notice all that stuff.
Wait, I just saw the colon there. I was like, hold up. And I went back a few cards and I was like, what the fuck?
I don't use the colon on any of my cards. I actually think it looks awkward now.
It does look awkward. Now I'm going to open my 2000 cards right now. I'm literally doing that.
What does the 01 have?
They don't have colons.
So they just did it for the pennant run only?
Yeah, it must have been. Because like the 2001, they started doing the actual number in parentheses.
Yeah, I like that.
Me too. But like, there's no colon. It's not speed colon A parentheses 20.
I don't really get that, and especially because there's no D speed. Like why would the D would never be like misconstrued with the C or A or the
Dude, I'm just saying right now, like, whenever we get the Wizards of the Coast guys, designers on the horn, whether it be for this
Mind
podcast
blown.
or for Showdown Con, my first question is going to be, why did you add a colon into the speed in the 2000 pennant run set?
Mine's gonna be like,
And then
who
they're
was
going
running
to
the
fucking
pennant
hang
run?
up.
Who screwed
Right.
up on Juan Guzman? Was that you?
Right. Who did not do QA that day?
Yeah.
Like, who came into work hungover?
Yeah, luckily, and I've talked about this before, and I obviously I have you guys too. I like QA like almost twice. Like I QA, I send you guys the cards, and then you guys will be like, Bob, your players overlapping the batter's box, and then I also put
Oh,
on
dude,
like,
you should have kept.
No.
I already forgot. Oh, that thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And then I'll put it like on a blog, and then people will be like, dude, you have the wrong picture or whatever. And so it's like almost like a double check before I like maybe print them myself or something. So it is nice.
Like I almost wish like because like to catch everybody up and you all see it, like there was some of the cards that Bob shared with us this weekend, like the player themselves was like over the actual chart, which one of them, it looked awesome. It was just like its batting glove was just like inking over. It was covering up like Homer.
Yeah,
It wasn't
like
like
a 3D effect.
yeah, you knew what it was, but like then the other one, like you couldn't see the fucking chart, So it was an unreadable chart.
Yeah.
So like it's almost like, Bob, one of these days you really got to pay a close eye, and like
Yeah.
maybe you shouldn't send them to us because like I'm gonna be like, Bob, it
No,
looks
I need
great.
it.
Like you should send it to the printers, and then I know there's gonna be that one or two that are just like I'm gonna get Matt and Peter both on my side to
Yeah.
like pick the one that we're going to like.
So what happened with
basically-
mine is, on a side note, I always try to make sure that they are under the URL for the blog, and almost every card I had, the blog is actually under the batter's box. So as long as I'm under the blog title, I'm always under the batter's box. So once I just go down, layer, boom, he's under the blog, we're good. For some reason, those ones, the batter's box is behind the blog and screw the whole thing up. All right, next up, Matt Clement here.
Ooh.
Interesting, no
Another
doubles. No
Tier
doubles.
5, right? So yeah, no doubles.
It's a pretty cool
I actually love
photo.
this card. Yeah, that's got to be. I don't know. Maybe that's not spring training. I also love like in that Padres era. Like I love that they had the word baseball club in their logo.
Oh yeah.
That's just like it's so.
Yeah, BC.
And that's actually
they should have BC, like how motorcycle clubs do MC.
right.
Yeah.
That or like just like football. Like that's like a thing that's come back.
Yeah.
Like is like with so many NBA teams kind of modeled off of like soccer, like English Premier League logos.
Yeah. I love them a lot.
And that's like the Padres are kind of doing that. Like, yeah, you just don't see that a lot, So
Yeah, I really like this. Obviously, the card itself not great, though. Crazy high ground ball range here. The picture looks cool, but the card itself, not good.
yeah.
Let's see here. Next up we have Carlos Hernandez. So actually
Dude.
another interesting big arm here.
Yeah. Padres, like their outfield is studs. Like they're a bunch of like this is like and the totals. I had it up here like that. They're below average in terms of team totals.
And
Like
they're
that is
solid. They're solid.
Because
this is
the guys that don't do damage on their charts get low rated.
Yeah.
right. This is like when we talked about doing like a team draft where you can like draft a team and then you can put them together. Like this is like a sleeper hit.
Yeah.
One of us is like going to be like kind of tongue in cheek, picking the Padres a little early.
Yeah.
So like what Ben Davis is 140, I think, right? I think it was 140 or
Might have been 150.
150.
Yeah.
So this is pretty solid for 170. You get the C8, the C+8, and not a lot of outs, and you're not walking. So at least you're getting hits if you did get on your chart.
You're probably singling.
Yeah, probably singling, but he's got a little bit of pop. The interesting thing is I actually like so Ben Davis card doesn't look like this. This is actually has the orange from the San Diego Padres in it. So the logo is bright orange. The helmet's got the orange accent. Very sharp look.
That's what we were. It's funny when we were talking about like the SD logo on their hats just looks great. And
Yeah,
like,
I think that's
especially on
awesome.
Carlos's his catcher's helmet
Yeah.
just looks
So sharp.
so
It jumps
badass.
right out at me.
So badass.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Next up, giant Ryan Klesko here. So he gets picked up from the Braves, and he's just got a monster of a card. He's at the 10 on base, like comes out of nowhere, especially for the salary savings Padres here, who all of a sudden have a 16 double, 18 home run, 10 on base guy.
Dude, he is so damn good. I'm
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
be honest. I don't even know if I've ever seen this card before.
I played with him way
Like-
back in the day, way back, just because there wasn't many 10s that I had, and I was like, holy shit, this guy's a big dude.
Klesko is one of those guys that like I think that like getting back into this game and kind of zeroing into these era in the card, like I never realized how fucking good he was.
Yeah.
You know, so dude, he looks great here.
Yeah.
You know, he's
Looks like a beast.
yeah.
I had to look it up because I was just curious. So it was him and Brett Boone traded to the Padres for Wally Joyner, Reggie Sanders, and Kilvio Veras.
So they went to the Braves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but like
So Sanders
Veras
did good as a Brave, but the rest of them, then you never like heard about again.
Right.
But Veras was good. He had great stats. Like,
He had a good 0-1 card.
Huh.
yeah,
I don't
that's
remember. I
wild.
actually just don't remember. I just remember always hearing Reggie Sanders' name. And
I wonder-
Klesko was just a big fucking dude.
What is the traditional way to like is it mostly using WAR to like kind of see like who made out from a draft or like from a trade?
You would have to.
Like-
I mean, but WAR is too dependent on every site does a calculation of WAR.
Right.
So like if you go to Fangraphs or Baseball Reference or whoever, they all have different interpretations of what WAR is. But it just depends on what you think is good. I think OPS is pretty nice. If you're just looking at value towards a team, I think any type of weighted on base or weighted average or any type of weighted things are really effective. I think WAR is pretty nice because it takes into fielding a lot of times, which a lot of cards don't, or a lot of stats don't take into account. Like when you're looking at a guy who can also field really well, like you don't know how much he's saving you on the field. It's like, so when you're looking at like an Andrew Simmons or actually to do right now, Matt Chapman, who's a great batter and also an amazing third baseman,
Yep.
he's so valuable for your team. Like he's incredibly valuable. So when you're talking about wins above replacement, if you got a replacement level player, he's giving you hitting and fielding, which is saving you runs, saving you wins, and hitting the ball well, helping you win. So it's a very good player.
yeah, sure.
I think WAR is great, but just depends. You have to know it's per site, but
Right.
hypothetically everything's within a good range.
Right.
Next up, the man, the myth, the legend, Dave Magadon. This is a card that I've seen drafted all the time. Everyone loves this card. You're talking about a super cheap 9 on base guy. That's why he gets picked up. Terrible chart. You're just looking for hopefully a walk or a single, but this is a guy where you're like trying to punt points, but you're going to grab a third baseman with plus fielding and throw him in your like 8-9 spot somehow.
And still be a 9 on base.
Yeah, and still have a 9 on base. So if you can get a guy like I'm gonna punt on third base and not spend 500 points on Fran Tatis and get a guy who's just gonna be a 9 instead of a 10 and just put him in the back of my lineup and you save 330 points, like that's incredible. That's why he gets picked up a lot all the time, and he's got a 6 stash.
Dude, he's like I mean, honestly, it looks like one of the players' dads snuck onto the field and just said, I'm just gonna hit the shit out of the ball just consistently. No, he rocks. He rocks the most. Like he's coming, like him and Olerud are kind of very similar in a lot of ways. Like Olerud's always been better, but they're just these cards that are just like hitting machines. And like,
Well, he
They're
always
just-
gets picked up in our leagues either by like someone like you or usually Kevin. Kevin is the guy that loves
Yep.
Magadon. I
Yeah,
always
like we-
joke and I call him the Magadon, which sounds like a Magic the Gathering monster. Like it just sounds like if I was gonna play a monster card and you called him the Magadon, I'd be like, yeah, that fucking thing's gonna tear me up.
dude, he's great. Like he's even in his last season, like he batted 2001 was last season. He batted 250 on base of 317, which is like not horrible. And like in 2000, his on base was 410. Like that's in this season, the one that's based on this one, and who knows how they did the pennant run, but 377. Like that's his average for his career on base was 390. Like that's dude. And he never made an all-star team. He was MVP voting 22nd in one season. Like he just like, I mean, this is a guy that like I gotta, on that Olerud video, I got a comment say do one for Magadon apparently. So, totally unrelated for a second, but it just showed up on my phone. I'm watching an eBay showing or listing for a signed 2001 Craig House card.
Oh my goodness.
I don't think I'm going to do it, but kind of cool that at least that card signed. He has a cool autograph. And plus that card rocks. So anyway.
Oh yeah. All right. Next up, we have the last
Matt loved that. Like,
the last card of the Padres. I know we've been going very long. I can't believe you guys are still listening, but we have Al Martin. Another pretty solid card here with an 8 speed guy in terms of just playability. 13 single plus, huge. A 14 double range, very solid card for an 8 for 380, giving you the A speed and the plus fielding. I think a very draftable card. He usually falls to the wayside because he falls in that middle range, but I don't think you could go wrong with a guy like this.
no, he's
like
great. I'm trying to look up some of his stats. Like he's not
I'm
even
just like digging the Padres lineup in general.
Yeah,
Like
I never thought about it until I'm like literally diving into it like this, and I'm like, holy shit!
they have like a fun team. Like they're not gonna. You're gonna need to get some good pitching, but like they can get on base a lot, and you just need like Martin or Nevin to get their chart.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm right with you 100%. Like this is like I love like this is like part of doing this whole series. It's just been fun to like kind of figure this type of stuff out.
Yep.
That
I hope it gives
this
us
team rules.
I hope it
Like,
gives us the advantage in drafting the NL versus half the other people that are in our league.
Because we looked at them.
Yeah.
It'll be hilarious. We're like, I really like this guy.
Yeah. So again, everyone, I hope you guys enjoyed that. That is the San Diego Padres draft, and stay tuned to us next time for the next one. Any last closing words?
UPS jerseys forever. I don't know. I'm gonna go buy one. So.
All right. Thank you guys for listening.